Life is a tapestry woven with threads of both joy and sorrow, each thread representing a moment, a memory, a feeling that shapes our existence. We experience moments of pure bliss where laughter flows freely and love surrounds us, enveloping us in a warm embrace that makes us feel invincible. Yet we also encounter seasons of darkness, where pain pierces our hearts and suffering leaves us questioning everything we thought we knew, making us feel isolated and vulnerable. It is in these moments of profound darkness that we often find ourselves grappling with a question that has echoed through the corridors of time. Why does a loving God allow evil to exist? This question haunts us, challenging our faith and understanding. The world around us seems to be a constant battleground between good and evil, a never-ending struggle that plays out in every corner of our lives. We see natural disasters wreak havoc, leaving behind trails of devastation, uprooting lives and dreams in their wake. We hear stories of unspeakable acts of cruelty inflicted upon innocent lives, acts that defy comprehension and shatter our sense of security. We experience personal tragedies that shake us to our core, leaving us to grapple with the fragility of life and the reality of our own mortality. These encounters with evil leave us feeling lost and alone, questioning the very nature of a God who claims to love us and wondering if there is any meaning to our suffering. The presence of evil in a world created by a loving God is a paradox that has puzzled theologians and philosophers for centuries, a mystery that continues to elude definitive answers. It is a question that has the power to either strengthen our faith or drive us to the brink of despair, depending on how we choose to confront it. But even in the midst of our doubts and uncertainties, we must remember that God is big enough to handle our questions, our fears, and our anger. He does not shy away from our pain or condemn us for our doubts. Instead, He meets us in our brokenness, offering comfort and hope. Instead, He invites us to draw near to Him, to pour out our hearts to Him, and to seek His face in the midst of our struggles, promising to be our refuge and strength. He promises that He will never leave us nor forsake us, even when we find ourselves walking through the darkest of valleys, assuring us that we are never truly alone. When we try to understand the coexistence of God and evil, we must first establish a fundamental truth. God is not the author of evil. This is a crucial distinction that forms the foundation of our understanding. The Bible tells us in 1 John chapter 1 verse 5, God is light and in Him is no darkness at all. This profound statement underscores the purity and holiness of God's nature. This verse paints a clear picture of God's character. He is the embodiment of purity, goodness, and love. His essence is one of unblemished light, radiating warmth and compassion. Darkness in all its forms is completely antithetical to His very nature. It is the stark opposite of everything He stands for and represents. Evil does not originate from God, nor does it reside within Him. It is a foreign element, an intruder in the realm of His creation. It is an external force that stands in direct opposition to everything He represents. This force seeks to undermine the goodness and love that God embodies. Just as light cannot coexist with darkness, God cannot and does not create evil. The two are mutually exclusive, unable to occupy the same space. To understand the origin of evil, we must go back to the beginning of creation. It is in the genesis of the world that we find the roots of this profound mystery. God created a perfect world free from pain, suffering, and death. It was a paradise, a reflection of His divine nature and intentions. He created humanity in His image, bestowing upon us the precious gifts of free will and the ability to choose. This freedom is a testament to His love and trust in us. It was within this realm of perfect freedom that evil took root. The choices made by humanity allowed darkness to enter the world. It was not God who introduced evil into the world. It was the choice of His creation, humanity, that opened the door to darkness. This pivotal moment changed the course of history. Just as God is not the source of darkness, we must also remember that He does not force His love upon us. His love is offered freely, without coercion. He desires a relationship with us that is based on genuine love, trust, and obedience. This relationship is a choice, a mutual bond that reflects the true nature of divine love. The story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden provides a powerful illustration of the concept of free will and its consequences. It is a tale that has been told for generations, a narrative that delves deep into the human condition and our inherent desire for autonomy. God placed Adam and Eve in a paradise, a garden overflowing with beauty and abundance. This garden was not just a physical space, but a symbol of the perfect relationship between humanity and the divine. They were given only one command, not to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. This tree stood as a test of their trust and obedience to God. This command was not an arbitrary rule imposed by a tyrannical God. It was a boundary set out of love, a guideline meant to ensure their well-being and maintain the purity of their existence. It was a loving safeguard designed to protect them from the destructive power of sin. Just as a parent sets rules to protect their child, God's command was an act of divine care. God knew that true freedom, true life was found in obedience to Him. Obedience was not about restriction, but about living in harmony with the Creator's perfect design. However, Adam and Eve were tempted by the serpent, a representation of Satan, who questioned God's goodness and His motives. The serpent's words were cunning, designed to sow doubt and mistrust. The serpent offered them a different kind of freedom, a freedom based on self-gratification and the pursuit of knowledge apart from God. This was a deceptive freedom, one that promised enlightenment but led to bondage. He whispered lies into their ears, convincing them that they could become like God, determining their own destiny and defining their own morality. The allure of being their own masters was too strong to resist. Tempted by the promise of forbidden knowledge and enticed by the serpent's deception, Adam and Eve made the fateful choice to disobey God's command. This act of disobedience was not just a simple mistake, but a profound rebellion against their Creator. In that moment, sin entered the world, fracturing the perfect harmony that had existed between God and humanity. The consequences were immediate and far-reaching, altering the course of human history. Adam and Eve's choice had far-reaching consequences, not only for themselves, but for all of creation. Their decision set off a chain reaction, introducing pain, suffering, and death into the world. The Garden of Eden, once a sanctuary of peace and beauty, became tainted by sin and its companion, death. The paradise that was meant to be eternal was now a reminder of lost innocence and the heavy price of free will. Many people struggle with the idea that God, in His omnipotence, could have prevented the fall of humanity. If He knew what choice Adam and Eve would make, why didn't He intervene? Why didn't He create a world where evil was impossible? To understand this, we must delve into the very heart of God's character and His desire for us. God is love. It is not simply an attribute He possesses, it is His very essence, and love, by its very nature, cannot be coerced or manipulated. True love requires freedom of choice. Imagine a world where humans were programmed to love God and obey His commands without question. Would such obedience be genuine? Could we truly experience the depth and richness of a relationship built on forced compliance? God desires a love that is freely given, a love that flows from hearts surrendered to Him out of choice, not out of obligation. He allows us the freedom to choose Him, even though it also means allowing us the freedom to reject Him. This is the risk of love, a risk that God willingly embraced when He created us. The existence of evil is not a testament to God's indifference or His inability to stop it. It is a stark reminder of the high cost of freedom and the profound depth of His love for us.